We're live around the world, baby.
It's only fitting that I completely screw up on the first episode of the new year, 2019.
It didn't even take a second.
It didn't even take a second. I mean, that's a new record for me. I think that's a new record. That's like Santino on the Royal Rumble record right there.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's fucking terrible.
So anyway, Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the F and Marks podcast. I'm Jay.
And I am Brainless Bob. And it's actually episode 113 of the F and Marks podcast.
Booyah.
We have a lot to get to for today's episode. A lot of stuff has happened since the last episode we did.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, 2019 is kicking off like freaking, I forget what's the old
Gangbusters. I'll go with gangbusters there.
Kicking off like gangbusters, man.
So
to get into a lot of exciting stuff, some sad news that has happened this week, some other interesting situations that have occurred this week. So I guess we could just roll right into it. So I'd say,
should we start?
Some stuff that's happened, in the world of WWE. It's not very often that WWE is taking a backseat.
Very big backseat this week.
Especially this week. With everything that's going on outside of WWE, although it could impact what happens with WWE with some of the announcements like the All Elite Wrestling and everything like that.
Yeah.
We have a Tony Storm situation I'd like to touch bases on a little bit, and I would also like to, as Tommy said, I'd like to pay homage to a GOAT that passed away earlier this week. But what's up, Joey?
How you doing, Joey?
But as we always do in every episode of the podcast. Well, most episodes.
I've always heard about the power of
Happy Sunday morning.
I was never sure exactly what that meant, so I got
All right,
some round
everybody.
up for myself.
Yeah. Nothing like a Colt 45. Is it still morning or afternoon?
It's officially time that we're not.
Yes. And also,
They make sure you ain't booty.
What a freaking
Yeah.
save that was. Sean Burke never had a save like that in his entire life.
true. So, we
Should I make my announcement that I have to make?
make your
So everybody last week who tuned into episode 112 of the F and Marks podcast were privileged enough to witness the end of the year awards ceremony, which we call the Mark Out Awards, or the
Markies.
The Marquee Awards. We have another one, friendless one, which are very similar to the Dundies because they're just overboard and over the top and just a lot of fun to do and everything. And we also announced our first ever Hall of Fame induction class of the F and Marks podcast.
That's right.
We actually have a Hall of Famer tuning in right now.
Yes.
That's right, Tommy. I thought it was a good idea to do Edward 40 hands with a couple of 40s last week and try to beat my personal best time of an hour and 10 minutes, which I did beat by one whopping minute. But any way you look at it, shaving a minute, doing something better than you did it the last time, it's still an accomplishment.
It was very impressive. The brainless one went excessively brainless, though.
I honest to goodness, after I finished the Edward 40 hands, I don't remember much after that. In fact, I was asking both Jay and Jeff days later, like, what did I'm like, did we do like a match of the year? I'm like, yeah. I was like, what the hell did I say? And then they told me, I'm like, oh, okay. I was like,
Well, that's what I was going to pick anyway.
I was going to pick that anyway. There was a lot of shit, and I was like, I don't remember a good portion of that.
I kept on telling him, I'm like, the stuff that, normally I would say in 5 seconds that you normally say in 30 seconds, you ended up saying in 3 minutes. But good times, man.
It was bad.
What's up, JJ Smith? Thanks for tuning in.
For that brief second. So I wanted to take this time to apologize for the fact that I'm usually, typically for 112 episodes, brainless. Last Friday, I was worthless. And I was useless. And I apologize for it because...
Oh, come on. It was good fun, yeah. It was, for me, trying to freaking rope you back in what was a little difficult, but come on.
I mean, it was
all in good fun. It was all in good fun. Don't try that at home and then drive, kids.
Thank
and
God,
if you're under 21, don't try that.
I had a designated driver after the episode of the podcast.
Damn straight.
As I just walked my ass to the downstairs living room and
plopped
on a recliner and passed out like an hour after
designated
the episode.
driver. You
ever see the joke that they have that's like, it's like things drunk people do or something like that? It's like an account on social media. And it was like, dude, you were so drunk last night. What are you talking about? I wasn't that drunk. Man, you called for an Uber after you were done with the party. So I was being responsible. The party was at your house.
Right.
So anyway, hopefully the next time I do it, I'll be just as fucked up, but it's not for a much more marquee of an episode, which is that episode. Usually the anniversary episodes, the milestone episodes, and the awards show episodes are the marquee episodes, so I will not be doing it for one of those ever again.
All right.
So,
booyah.
So let's get back into business. So this week, I think it was Wednesday, we lost a true legend and a pioneer of the professional
wrestling business
industry, as we lost the great Mean Gene Okerlund.
I dare call him a GOAT.
Oh, he's absolutely a GOAT. I
know the best backstage interviewer ever. He actually had like personality and like he would interject stuff. I mean, if you talk to him, he always said his favorite person to interview was the Macho Man because he never knew what the heck was going to happen, but they just riffed off each other. So
yeah, Mean Gene Okerlund has been a part of some of the greatest moments in professional wrestling history. I want to touch base on a couple of them at least, so we have some people out there. But I mean,
and if you guys have some stuff you want to,
anytime if you want to share one of your favorite Mean Gene or any memorable Mean Gene moments and everything like that, you're more than welcome to tune in and chime in and give your 2 cents on the whole Mean Gene thing. Like you said, he was the best backstage interviewer, and it's not even close. There's nobody that's even come into the stratosphere of Mean Gene Okerlund. Mean Gene Okerlund established himself back in, I think, the Mid-South, was it?
Well, he was a big-time AWA
That's
dude.
what it was. I'm sorry, AWA. Then he went on to move on to WWE, where he became a legendary backstage announcer for them. His interviews were Hulk Hogan. I know he said Macho Man was his favorite interviewee. Yeah. But when he interviewed Hulk Hogan, those were the best. Because you know what? Even though you never knew what you were going to get from Randy Savage, you knew exactly what you were going to get from Hulk Hogan.
Cocaine.
And besides cocaine. And the fact is that Hulk Hogan was so gimmicky that you knew it was coming, but you still loved it. Well, let me tell you something, Mean Gene. You knew you were getting it every single time he had an interview with Mean Gene Okerlund.
Speaking of which, Monday Night Raw this week. I think the brainless one will at least temporarily.
I will tune in for that. I'm definitely going to tune in for that.
Hulk Hogan is going to be there, and he's going to be there for a tribute to Mean Gene Okerlund on Monday.
Also, there's another wrestler who was announced that's going to be making an appearance on Monday Night Raw tomorrow night to also pay homage to Mean Gene Okerlund. You might know who he is. I'll give you a hint, though. He's the limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun, woo! And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. The actual GOAT.
Which leads me to one of my favorite ever Mean Gene moments. After the 92 Royal Rumble, and Flair is back there with Perfect and Heenan, and it's like, you're talking about 3 dudes who are like masters of the microphone with Mean Gene, and like, apparently somebody on the side during this interview is smoking a cigarette, and Mean Gene like interrupts the interview to go like, hey, put that cigarette out, and then continues the interview. But like that whole thing was just fantastic with Heenan losing his mind, Perfect losing his mind, and then like when the 3 of them are like going, we're not the type of guys that like to say we told you so, but we told you so.
That Royal Rumble is still one of the greatest Royal Rumbles of all time because that was Bobby Heenan's best performance as an announcer. It really was, because he's like, there it is! He's coming out number 3! I'll tell you, this is a conspiracy against Ric Flair! And it's come out! This isn't fair! He's like, and then after that, I told you all he was going to win! I told you Ric Flair was going to... That was just Bobby Heenan doing a masterpiece.
Well, and then the other thing with Heenan there was what happened at WrestleMania 17, baby.
Oh, yeah, him and Okerlund returning at WrestleMania 7, this was actually one of my favorite moments, was the fact that Mean Gene and Bobby Heenan both came out and returned to WWE at WrestleMania 17, where they did the play-by-play color commentary for one of my favorite matches, the Gimmick Battle Royal. And, I mean, Mean Gene was good, but Bobby Heenan was just God.
Right.
And those two, say what you will, I really do think they were good friends, great friends, probably best friends in the wrestling business for a long time. They got along. They had tremendous chemistry together. And they're two of my all-time favorites from back in the day. And those two working that match for WrestleMania 17 will always be the reason why I enjoyed that match as much, because that match was fucking a train wreck. And Bobby Heenan, saved that match because of the fact that he said that by the time it's still the greatest thing. By the Iron Sheik gets in the ring, it's going to be WrestleMania 38. And my favorite part about that is that you cut away to when Earthquake's coming out, and they're showing Earthquake coming out in the match, and then you see the Iron Sheik yelling at a referee because the referee is telling the Iron Sheik to move faster to the ring. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
To this day, I still watch that match. I probably watch that match more than any other match in the history of professional wrestling, just because it's fantastic. And then
is it right after it or right before your favorite matches?
Oh, it's in wrestling. It's the back-to-back matches that is just I'm coming in for both matches every single time. It's the match right after the TLC 2 match between the Goats and the Goats and the Goats. And and then it's funny because you see them when Mean Gene's coming out. It's funny you say that because when Mean Gene's coming out, they're still taking all the ladders out of the ring.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of pair that together. That and Duke Joshi being an embarrassment. The garbage man's gone.
But anyway, with Okerlund, I remember back in the 80s when WWF was trying a bunch of different things. They came out with Pile Driver the album, but Mean Gene Okerlund did a version of Tutti Frutti from from Little Richard. That was on the album, and they used to have him MC all these events.
Oh my god!
But another one of my favorite things ever from Mean Gene Okerlund was his day at the zoo with George the Animal Steele. That was one of the greatest moments. I'm sure, if my dad saw that thing, he'd be like, "This is the most retarded thing I've ever seen." But
if my father, I don't think my father saw it either. And if he saw that, he'd be like, "You actually watch this shit?"
But, even now when I watch,
it's still fucking funny. I might have to watch that later today. So.
When they find the weasel, Heenan.
That's a good one. It's funny you brought up the whole the Tutti Frutti, because when Mean Gene actually came out to the ring at WrestleMania 17, that's the song. His version of Tutti Frutti is what he came out to, and I love because in the Titantron you see it on the screen and it looks like he takes a hit of a freaking blunt. And
he might.
And I'm like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. But on a serious note with Mean Gene, there's always two moments for me that stick out the most with Mean Gene Okerlund of why he was the best at what he did. The first one was when they were on Piper's Pit, and Hogan was on Piper's Pit with Hot Rod Roddy Piper, obviously. And Bobby Heenan came out and said that he had a challenger for Hulk Hogan, and Andre the Giant came out, and they had their little exchange, and the Giant ripped Hogan's shirt and the cross off of his neck and everything like that. And Heenan was the one, I believe it was Heenan that came out and actually interviewed him and said, "What are you going to do?" If I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
It was a combination of people.
I know Piper was there.
Piper was there, and it was Jesse Ventura who actually he's like, "Oh, I've got somebody who wants to talk to you." And then Heenan came out with Andre. And at that point, originally, Andre had kind of decided to like retire. And then Vince McMahon had actually convinced him to come back and said, hey, we really want to make this bigger. We want to take this to the next level. We want you to go against Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 3 at the Silver Dome. And he kind of convinced Andre to come back. But like before that, Heenan was the reason why Andre was suspended for life. And he became like the super giant machine. And like
I see what you did there.
See. But that was part of that angle. And, Andre went away for a bit. But then when he came back, the way they explained it storyline wise was that, well, it's because Heenan's bringing him back, that Heenan no longer wants him suspended for life and what have you. And that led to that. But it was Ventura who announced them and had them come out.
But I'm pretty sure it was Mean Gene who interviewed Hogan after the Giant ripped the shirt and the cross off of his neck and basically set up for the match of all matches, the Unstoppable Force versus the Immovable Object at WrestleMania. Because obviously it makes sense because it's Mean Gene Okerlund because he just does that stuff.
Right.
For me, and it does speak volumes for. Actually, there was actually two more. Actually, another one I want to add to the other one I have.
Of course there is.
Bash at the Beach '96. When Hogan turned on WCW and joined Hall and Nash and the Outsiders and became the NWO, Mean Gene Okerlund came out and did an interview and was basically going to Hogan, how can you do this, Hulk, after all these years? And Hogan cut one of his best promos ever.
And poor Mean Gene was getting pelted along with the NWO with beer and whatever crap the fans could throw at them in the ring.
He got clocked in the head, too, with a beer. Somebody clocked him in the head with a beer. And that spoke volumes of what Mean Gene Okerlund was and how he kept it together and held his composure and still delivered on the promo, even though he got blasted with a beer. And the other thing I wanted to bring up was the 1990 Survivor Series with their debut of the Gobbledygooker.
Yes.
And I think that was that. There's only one person who could have knocked that out as well as they did. So,
what's up, Draper Robinson? We are talking Mean Gene Okerlund and some of the things from over his career. We're talking professional wrestling. So,
well, drinking for the Gulp Water Bar.
So thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
If you like what you see, make sure you like us on the Facebooks or Twitter or subscribe on YouTube. So
yes. But that's
we appreciate you tuning in on this Sunday morning.
So that's what I have on Mean Gene. Obviously, I think WWE will do a much better homage to Mean Gene Okerlund, just from a fan's perspective and as somebody who's been a fan for as long as I have. I just had to bring up my favorite Mean Gene moments and the moments that stood out for him, and just the fact that with the birth of the WWE Network, and he's kind of been a major contributor to what they Story time.
He was on Edge and Christian show a lot.
Legends House.
Yeah.
Mean Gene is just Mean Gene. And there's not a human being on this planet that can say a bad thing about Mean Gene Okerlund. Mean Gene will be greatly missed.
Yep.
So, swig of beer.
For the Mean Gene Okerlund.
For Gene Mean.
The GOAT. All right. So, from Mean Gene Okerlund to other, questionable stuff that happened this week. There were photos, videos of Tony Storm this week. And, with all the stuff that happened to Paige a couple of years ago, it's like...
And it's not just Paige. I know that Charlotte also had some nudes leaked.
Yeah.
And nobody really talked about it because nobody really wanted to see the Charlotte nudes leaked. I know I said I was going to stop doing that kind of shit, but you know what? God damn it, this is my podcast. And I can speak my mind.
It's our podcast.
It is our podcast, but I can speak my mind. And if I say that I saw those pictures of Charlotte Flair topless and her boobs look fucking retarded, then by God, I can say whatever the fuck I want. It's a free country.
Right.
That's what my president has done for me. He has made it so that I can say whatever the fuck I want.
Well, and I think there's some soldiers out there too and things like that.
Yes, I understand, but I mean, people are going to get butthurt over what people say, then
Right.
that's on them, not me.
Anyway, so yeah, poor Tony Storm. I mean, the thing with like
The timing.
somebody with like Charlotte's a little bit older,
Mhm.
has been through some stuff
Paige
in
was-
life.
Paige
Paige has been through a lot of stuff in life, and you know, even with
He's trying to X-Pac me.
he is X-Packing you.
No,
Don't eat the
I'm
brown
not gonna do
snow.
it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not
Happy
gonna do-
Sunday.
I'm not
Happy
going to
Sunday.
do what everyone thinks I'm going to do. And flip out, man.
Yeah. So with Paige, she had been through, you know, a bit in life, and even with her, like she talked about how difficult it was. Tony Storm is like early 20s,
22 or 23.
and just like, you know, little PSA for everybody out there. It's like, don't record anything. There's somebody somewhere, and if that's seen it, and if you end up becoming famous, unfortunately, it's going to be seen by everybody. So don't do it. And I feel sorry for her. You know, she's obviously a
Tremendous talent.
tremendous talent,
Tremendous.
Beautiful woman,
Oh, God.
and it's just like,
I mean, yeah, she does.
she actually, like, there were reports that she was contemplating quitting, and literally, like, they have a thing they've got NXT UK Blackpool
Next week.
this weekend, well, like
Next
6
Saturday.
days,
Yes.
6 days from now, and there are 4 matches, and she is in one of them. She's in one of the most prominent matches.
She's the former Mae
Yeah.
Young Classic winner as well. She's basically been one of the bright spots and top stars of this NXT UK that they have after the Dunn siblings of Pete Dunne and Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
And it would be a shame for her if she were to just walk away from this. It's a good thing that Paige has,
Reached
has
out to
kind of
her.
reached out to her and been
So
like,
did Lance Storm. Lance Storm had a really good post on Twitter this week, and
can I have your attention for 1 second, please?
yeah,
That's what he says.
see, he's waiting for the Bears game because they're actually still playing while the Giants are not, and you know,
The fact that I wasn't the only one that didn't want to see the Flair nudes.
exactly.
But obviously, it's a terrible thing that happened with Tony Storm. And like you said, you never know what could happen. I mean, you know, I joke about the fact that I want to run for president in 5 years, and 5 years and 10 months, and however many days, and everything like that. But I'm always worried. I'm actually worried about what I have posted in the past and how that could come up, because a lot of these guys, like a lot of these young kids in like the NFL, like the quarterback, I think it was either Josh Rosen or whatever Allen, the quarterback for the Bills, had posted when they were younger some racial slurs in their text, in their tweets and everything. One of the players for the Bears who proposed to his girlfriend after the win they had against the Packers, you know, a couple weeks ago, she had some racially negative tweets that she had posted, and that got out. You just never know what you could say. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you go back in my 8 or 9 years that I've been on Twitter, that I'm sure the word retard has come out more than once. It had to have. Eli Manning's been the starting quarterback for the Giants since I've had Twitter.
Right.
You know, and I'm pretty sure I've said some things. I mean, I'm pretty sure I called Matt Hardy a retard. You know, there's just some things out there that people, you know, regret posting. And it's just a shame because in this way, with social media and the trolls that are out there in this world, everything can come back to you. And it can come back and bite you in the ass. I will say one thing. I did see the pictures. I did watch the video multiple times. My God. That's all I'm going to say is my God.
Mm.
It was... I'm sorry.
It's one of those things that, like, you feel sorry for the person. You're like, I shouldn't see this, and you're like,
It was glorious. It was absolutely glorious. It was the best looking vagina I've ever seen in my entire life. It was flawless. Kevin, we're actually talking about Toni Storm. She is signed with WWE and the UK brand that they have. She has been prominent down in the United Kingdom, wrestling in the independent scene with Progress Wrestling and oh god, I'm having Evolve and all that stuff.
Whatever.
But
But basically, she had some nude things leaked this week.
I don't think she's Kevin. I saw that video. If she was a whore, then she's I don't think that pussy has gotten a lot of work done to it, a lot of damage done to it. I'm sorry. It was magnificent. I'm sorry. It was magnificent. It was flawless. I wanted to bury my face in it. It was that good looking. I wanted to eat it. I'm sure it tasted like either fresh baked cinnamon rolls or chocolate chip cookies. That's how good it tastes. It looked like it tastes. It was magnificent. I don't think I'll
Draper.
I don't think I will ever
see.
Man. I don't think I will ever see a vagina that looks that good ever again. It's physically impossible. And it's probably because of the fact that she's 22 or 23 or however old she was. But my God, that thing was just
glorious.
It was absolutely glorious.
Yeah.
It was.
Draper said he has not seen a 40 in years. Yeah, Draper, this is one of the things that we do most weeks. We will drink our 40s of Colt 45
I'd say about
while having the podcast.
82% of the time we do it with a Colt 45. At least one of us, if not both.
Yeah.
Every once in a while we'll mix it up, and like when we go to my buddy Corey's, it's house rules, so we usually do like mixed drinks. Like we'll do the whiskey,
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
Or if we have places to go after we do the podcast, we tend to
not drink at all. I mean, we've done episodes with Ying to the Ling. We've done episodes with
Das Boot for
Das
me.
Boot for you. Budweiser. We had the Golden Monkeys to celebrate. We had the Broken Skull IPA.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
For our 1-year anniversary episode.
Yeah.
Which was actually fantastic considering it's an IPA and I'm not a huge fan of IPAs.
So, yeah.
Oh my God.
Good times, man. Anyway, poor Tony Storm, but has a really high profile match. And so I was looking over the NXT UK Blackpool Takeover card. There are officially 4 matches. I think they're going to add a couple of them
at least one.
This week during the show, but is the show going to be an hour and a half, or are they going to be 2 hours,
You might have a new fan.
Right?
We drink the 40s. He likes the Das Boots.
Yes.
If we start, we were talking about vaginas and pussies and all that stuff. And, I've actually gotten high before an episode of the podcast.
Right.
It probably won't ever happen again, but that's okay.
Right. So, NXT UK right now, Takeover Blackpool, the 4 matches. Tony Storm, Rhea Ripley. We got Mustache Mountain against the Grizzled Vets to crown the inaugural NXT UK Tag Team Champions. Right. We got Dave Mastiff versus Eddie Dennis in a no DQ match. They set that up.
Fantastic.
They set that up beautifully this week on NXT UK.
Mastiff would do really good in a stable with Heavy Machinery and Cash Arizona. They just call it the
buffet line.
The Buffet Brigade.
Yeah. Dr. Denny's
with weights and steaks or whatever the fuck it is.
Yes.
And then Dan Mastiff, who is the mastodon of McDonald's.
Oh boy, dude! Don't eat the brown snow on his second 40 with a side of Jack. Happy Sunday, man. Oh, dude, you're gonna be completely.
Are you gonna be even sober for the Bears Eagles game?
He doesn't need to be sober. He needs to be awake.
By the way, don't eat the brown snow. I just want to let you know the Bears are my dark horse to win the Super Bowl this year.
They are solid. It's all up to Mitch. It's up to
Trubisky. And the thing about Trubisky and the Bears, and I can't believe we're actually kind of.
It's NFL playoffs.
All Trubisky has to do is not fuck up, because they have a solid running game. Because they have 2 solid running backs. I know Cohen is one. I forgot. Cohen and Howard are their 2 starting running backs, and that defense is ridiculous.
Yeah.
The linebackers they have kind of remind me of the 85 Bears because that's how good those linebackers are. And Khalil Mack is one of, if not the best all-around defensive player in the National Football League.
Thanks, John Gruden.
It's either him or Aaron Donald for the Rams, and the two best defensive players in the NFL are actually still in the playoffs, where none of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL's teams are still in the playoffs. Because Antonio Brown is crying and pooping in his diaper about getting out of Pittsburgh, and Odell Beckham Jr. is just being a diva himself, and we're not going to get into it. And Hopkins just got eliminated yesterday.
And anyway, the final match for NXT UK Takeover Blackpool is Pete Dunne
The GOAT.
against Joe Coffey. And
Coffee, tea, Sega.
exactly. So with Coffey, like he's in stable with his brother, and I forgot is Wolfgang with them.
Yes, Wolfgang is.
But they're called Gallus.
Gallus.
And I think basically what's going to end up happening is Gallus is going to get involved in this match in some way, shape, or form, and they tend to set this up where.
So you think that Pete Dunne finally loses the title, but it's going to be because of nefarious tactics?
I think so.
That'd be incredible because he was, even though I don't really remember it, but you guys told me Pete Dunne was my pick for Superstar of the Year for 2018. He is the GOAT. He is the longest reigning champion of the modern era of any championship belt. He has just absolutely destroyed everybody. And it's not like he's just fighting against people from the UK. He went in there and fought people from NXT. He actually had a match on Monday Night Raw and beat the shit out of the Cruiserweight champion.
Right.
He was a certified G and a bona fide dud. See what I did there?
Great.
I would love to see Pete Dunne. See, I'm kind of on the fence with this whole Pete Dunne thing. I kind of want to see him win the match because I'm just a huge Pete Dunne fan. But I also want to see him drop the belt because I ultimately think it's going to lead to him being on the main roster, although they might not pull the trigger on that quite yet because they want to build, like you said, they want to build the UK division for NXT.
So, Draper, one thing that me and the Brainless one have discussed before is he's asking, when are we going to have NXT versus NXT UK? I almost think that what they're going to do is they're going to have NXT UK brands throughout the world, and they're going to end up having some sort of like kind of tournament of champions. And I think it may even involve like SmackDown Live, and I think it might involve Monday Night Raw too. And I think it's going to culminate maybe at WrestleMania, or maybe they're going to start their a specific pay-per-view.
I think we're more inclined to see maybe like an All-Stars of NXT versus an All-Stars of WWE. Because they've actually
that could happen at Survivor Series.
They kind of teased something like that too, where they had like Cesaro and Seth Rollins and Bailey and all of them come down, and they've actually had like interaction. It's like the League of Legends that they've actually been calling it, of NXT stars that are now on the main roster making a name for themselves, and Seth Rollins is on the forefront.
Draper says that Kyle O'Reilly should be protected at all costs. You know who also should be protected at all costs? Adam Cole, baby!
It's funny because they actually did a house show for NXT, and I actually saw the video online, and it was basically the Undisputed Era, and they actually had a altercation with Bro. And there's actually, as a mark, believe me, I should know.
That's a fucking mark.
Because, we have the podcast called The Effing Marks. And he went after, of all the members of the Undisputed Era, he went after Kyle O'Reilly. That match really intrigues me because, obviously, Matt Riddle has the background in UFC. And Kyle O'Reilly actually has, he's trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think those two would actually have a phenomenal match.
Right.
I would love to see that. About as much as I'd love to see Bobby Fish join Mustache Mountain because he belongs in Mustache Mountain. Because
and as much as you would like to see Cassius Ohno in Heavy Machinery and
Dan Mastiff
and a buffet eating contest.
I'd also like
how many pounds could be eaten by those four individuals?
I'd also like to see Cassius Ohno versus Grimace.
That would be a great match.
No, it wouldn't. It'd be terrible. Who said anything about a match anyway? It'd be like a burger eating contest.
Yeah, that's a great match.
And what was his name? Oh, from Popeye. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. Wimpy! That's it.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. In a burger eating contest.
Right?
With probably Homer Simpson, because he ordered 6,000 Krusty Burgers. And probably
Peter Griffin.
too, yeah. Homer. Homer Simpson on the shirt.
The GOAT.
The GOAT. My favorite TV character of all time. But
Right.
I'm actually excited for NXT UK next Saturday. I think it's going to be a tremendous show, and if it's anything like the regular NXT takeovers, it's not going to disappoint because they have yet to have a bad NXT takeover.
So they haven't had a bad NXT takeover. Like, I mean, that's a pretty... The bar that's been set by them... How will NXT UK kind of stack up against that? I mean, obviously, as performers, I think that, you know, really talented people, storyline-wise, I mean, they've been building it up. Like, we haven't been following it to this point super close. We've been trying to catch up lately, and we kind of see what they're doing. It's weird that they have Johnny Saint there, who's supposed to be the general manager, but he has a damn mouthpiece, more or less. And it's like, all right, well, why do you have Johnny Saint? Is he just a figurehead? But
I have to do this. I'm sorry. Real quick.
We shall see. We'll see what happens.
Because we were talking about that, like, why is what is his name? Seth something or Sid something or
I forget the dude's name. Not gonna work here anymore. But yeah, dude, Riddle and Velveteen Dream should be called Purple Haze. That would be a great team name.
Holy shit!
That would be fucking awesome.
How old do you think Johnny Saint is?
65?
77.
Dude looks good.
He
looks good.
He can't move as well as he used to, obviously.
77 years old. I'll take that. Dude, still gets around.
5'8". Holy shit.
Yeah, but dude, you just need to be fucking fierce. He's like Dustin Pedroia, man.
Wait a minute. Johnny Saint is the original man of 1,000 holes. The gimmick that Dean Malenko had.
The gimmick that was beaten by the GOAT.
I want to know. I'm
Chris Jericho with at least 1,004 holds. You know what? I bet Jericho is probably up over like 1,500 holds now. By the way, Jericho put on
Holy
another
shit.
fucking amazing match at Wrestle Kingdom.
Wow.
Are you,
I'm sorry.
he's not even fucking paying attention anymore.
Johnny Saint wrestled in his late 60s.
Hey,
In 2011 was his last match, and he teamed up with Colt Cabana
there you go.
for Chikara. I think
I agree, Tommy.
I did throw out the name of Neville in AEW.
And we'll get into AEW shortly.
Are we talking about the GOAT, Chris Jericho? When I made my statement, and I actually tweeted it out on my personal account, where I would like to do anything in my late 40s, which is how old Chris Jericho, I think he's either 48 or 49 now.
I think he's 48.
I would love to do anything at that age, as well as Chris Jericho still wrestles.
With Jericho, yes, you look at him now, yes, he is not in as good a shape as he was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. The dude still knows psychology, and he still can work a damn match.
And that DDP yoga is doing wonders for that man too.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho is God. When I a lot, and I call a lot of people goats, and I've lost track of how many people are goats.
All right, Draper, I'm going to see if I could find the soundbite here for you. Stand by.
We got it.
Hold one, arm drag.
Hold 2.
Hold two, arm bar. Hold three, the Moss covered family handle, family credential. Why doesn't he just mail us this list and we'll announce it?
Oh.
Just Randy. Number 5, the Saskatchewan spinning nerve hole. This must be meathead microphone night. You think so? We've got 998 to go. Get the hook out of here. Shut up.
I love the fact that he completely skipped over moves 7 and 8, and he went to 9. He's fucking God. When you look at the definition of GOAT in the dictionary, there's a picture of Chris Jericho. And not just any picture of Chris Jericho. It's the picture of Chris Jericho from that night.
Is it that one?
On the night of Monday Night Raw when he was on The Price is Right with Bob Barker episode of Monday Night Raw,
Where it
has
looked like it was.
where he sucked on a lemon and a lime at the same time.
Looks like somebody's in the wrong neighborhood. You're right, Donate the Brown Snow. Wrestle Kingdom 13 was pretty freaking awesome.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna go out on a limb. Best skit ever.
Yeah. No, well, he's saying the Price is Right skit was the best skit ever. I have a strong love for Tea Time with Santino.
That is fucking fantastic. That is
That's
fantastic.
I don't know if that's just me. I mean, technically, not a skit, a pre-tape, but Booker T with Stone Cold in the grocery store. I mean,
God. Are we talking skits like skits?
I mean, are we talking like coconut
like,
to the head?
Are we talking about?
Are we
Party's
talking
Over,
anything
Grandpa?
that was the Black Scorpion?
Are
Are we talking about
obviously
of
the
Clash
Magic,
of the Champions?
the Magic
13.
Show at Magic Clash of the Champions 13.
Clash of the
obviously a
Champions
skit.
13. That
Where
was one of the
only two goats could be the only two people who could have saved the whole thing.
that tried. They tried their best.
And they did a
Jim
hell of a job.
Ross and Paul Heyman, aka Paulie Dangerously, did their best to put over the Black Scorpion doing fucking magic.
I mean, are we talking about Parties Over Grandpa? Or are we talking about Shawn Michaels super kicking and then throwing Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window, which they actually brought up on the Edge and Christian show with Shawn Michaels?
By the way, that
Nil Nascaris.
the Edge and Christian
Shawn
show
Michaels
this
is gone.
year is just.
See, I might be in the minority with a lot of people I know, but I fucking love Shawn Michaels, and I will always love Shawn Michaels. I understand that he was a crybaby
piece of
bitch.
trash.
He was a crybaby bitch and all that stuff, and everything he did to like the Rock's family and everything.
You know what? Ric Flair and Jay Lethal, the woo off.
Oh God, yes, that was. Oh yeah, that was my favorite TNA, and it's not even close. My favorite TNA moment.
Yes.
Where, I love the fact that people joke about it. They're like, when your dog sees another dog walking by the house, woo, woo, woo. That shit fucking gets me. The Shawn Michaels bit with Ric Flair where he tells him he's gonna take him out to the back of the woodshed like Old Yeller, and Ric Flair basically loses his fucking shit where he takes off his sport coat like he always does and just starts stomping on it. And he goes, Old Yeller, and he's smacking Shawn Michaels. I'll give you Old Yeller.
Don't eat the brown snow.
Oh.
Like literally, my favorite moment. Like there were some really good matches on Wrestle Kingdom. There was a lot of good stuff that went on in wrestling this week. My favorite moment this week was Steiner Math with the New Day.
By the way, my favorite skit was the Old Day. I'm just kidding. That was so fucking bad. I was waiting for this to get your reaction. Actually, of all the New Day ones, my favorite skit with the New Day was when they brought out the time machine that was made out of cardboard.
Hey, 2009.
It looks
That
like
was a
it's
good year
trouble.
for me.
It looks like trouble in paradise. No, I don't want to leave. 2009 that's because I fucking love Kofi Kingston. That's why it was fantastic for me. And Kofi, the New Day this week has just been.
As much as
my good. There's been a lot of good this week. There was a lot of good this week.
There was
a lot of good this week. I would say SmackDown as a whole was really good this week, and I'm gonna make that my good. My first good of 2019 was SmackDown as a whole. The fact that
there were a couple of things that were retarded,
and that's also gonna be part of my bad and my brainless. I mean,
I've got my own. My bad and brainless could be the same damn thing this week.
My bad and my brainless. Everything happened on SmackDown that was my good, my bad, and my brainless. Because I mean, that's what happens when you boycott Monday Night Raw. Because I can just make my bad every week, or I could actually change it and make my bad every week is the fact that Monday
Night Raw is still 3 hours long.
My boycott of Monday Night Raw continues to be my bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, and my brainless was like, are you fucking kidding me?
So are you still saying that Monday Night Raw is not very good?
Monday Night Raw has sucked. Monday Night Raw has sucked.
Well,
Monday Night Raw has sucked.
I don't watch Raw. I have no idea what the hell's going on Monday Night Raw. All I know is that Bobby Roode and Chad Gable are still the Raw Tag Team Champions.
Oh, hi, Mark.
And that bothers me a lot.
I like them as performers. I still say Bobby Roode
they've
is a
ruined Bobby
damn
Roode.
heel.
They've ruined Bobby Roode. They need to repackage him again.
Yeah.
They need to repackage him again, dump the fucking... And I hate to say it because Glorious is still one of my favorite entrance songs in all WWE. It's in my top 5. It's
Yes.
not Nakamura's. Nakamura's is my favorite entrance in WWE now.
Draper has been force choking for Darth Vader this whole time.
I'm sure he has because Darth Vader hasn't moved a muscle.
He's tensed up. Right. I was actually talking with somebody the other day about a couple of years ago. They had that commercial. I think it started in the Super Bowl or around Christmas time, where there was like a little kid dressed up in like a Darth Vader outfit, and he was like trying to use the Force against stuff, and then all of a sudden, like it was either like a garage door opener or a car, and all of a sudden stuff happened.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid was like,
yeah,
like he had the freaking Force. It was like one of the like greatest commercials. I freaking love that.
My favorite thing when it comes to the Star Wars is there's a meme out there. It's like they had the one where it's like Taken, single, and then like some whatever random freaking thing, and it's like would rather be alone, and it's checked off and everything. There's one it's Taken, single, and then it says Stormtrooper in a box, and they completely missed the square on the fucking thing. Like, I mean, Stormtroopers. The only thing in this world that misses its target more than Stormtroopers is Jamarcus Russell.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you trying to hook up with the random women. Yeah.
With all due respect, go fuck yourself. Hey, but I said with all due respect. Ricky Bobby.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I lost my train of thought. Yes, the GOAT did GOAT things at Wrestle Kingdom. He went up against NATO for the IWGP
They
Intercontinental
beat
Championship.
the fuck
They
out
beat
of
the
each
shit
other.
out of each other. Chris Jericho. Nay, you know what? I'm sorry. I would love to make SmackDown Live my good for this week, but I'm gonna Varner myself. I'm gonna change my mind. Chris Jericho in his match with NATO, when he actually grabbed the camera and was holding it over NATO on the ground and he gave him the finger, is my good for this week.
It wasn't quite like when The Rock was going against Mankind in the empty arena match, and they were like in the back, and The Rock picked up the phone. And...
SmackDown Hotel, Rock speaking, the Great One speaking. How may I help you? Oh, you're looking for Mick Foley? Oh, I'm sorry, he's a little tied up, and he grabs the corner, puts it around. Yeah, that's what separates The Rock from everybody else. Was that match alone?
He made it entertaining when they had like a 15,000 seat arena empty, and they fought each other everywhere.
He is the most electrifying man in all of sports entertainment.
Yes.
You'll never
Dude,
see, you will never.
That DDT on the table, like when they showed the replay, it looked like NATO's head connected. It was almost like when Tommy's brother Timmy DDT'd his other brother into the floor, which I was front row for that, and then his mom saw it happen.
That was like when my brother was like,
Tommy, you remember that, right? It was on the floor in my parents' living room.
That was like when my brother was like 2 or 3 years old, and he was running around the house, and I was chasing after him, and I ran up behind him, grabbed him, and I delivered a bulldog into my grandmother's living room floor, and it was so bad you could actually hear his head, like you hear that, like the thud that it made, and it's like, oh, that's not supposed to happen. And he started crying, and my grandmother gets in there and starts yelling at my uncle because he's recording the whole thing, and she goes, "They're gonna have me arrested." I'm like, "Graham, stop! It's not that bad." My brother Eric got up and he was mad. He kicked me, got up and just started just running around the house. And I'm like, "There's something wrong with that kid."
That boy ain't right.
That boy ain't right. I'm telling you. There's something wrong with that boy. I still love my brothers to death and my sister, but goddamn, there's something wrong with them. I mean, look what their brother is.
Right. I wouldn't doubt if Natos had put a
He
hole
put
in
a
that
hole in
table. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, like, that thing looked pretty stiff.
I think
That's
Larry.
what she said.
I think Larry Legend.
Yeah.
It is talked about on a regular basis. It is. It's actually talked on a regular basis. The fact is that video is still somewhere around here, floating around. We've actually thought about putting that video clip of Eric's head like bouncing off the living room floor on a DVD so we could have it forever and ever. But I don't know if that's ever materialized into that. But it is what it is.
Booyah.
But yeah, it is. There's a lot of things in my family that have been legendary moments. The stories have been told for years and years, and hell, even decades. That's one of them. Eric's head bouncing off my grandmother's living room floor.
All right. Sweet, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, Larry. There is something wrong with me, too. Believe me, I am well aware of the fact that I said that. And I'm like, look at who their brother is.
Right.
Yeah. But, yeah.
So, anyway, outside of Jericho and Nato having a great match.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Okada is the best in-ring performer in all of New Japan. I know that what's his face, Dave Meltzer's going to disagree with me. He'll say that Okada is the second best wrestler in all of New Japan, behind Kenny Omega. But
Well,
Okada, oh my God.
Wait. Kenny Omega, coming soon, free agent, yet to be decided where he ends up. Does he end up at the Royal Rumble? Does he end up at All Elite Wrestling? Does he end up doing something else? Does he end up back with New Japan? I mean, they're acting right now as if Kenny Omega is leaving New Japan.
Well, him.
I mean, it could be a swerve. It really could be.
Spoiler alert, he did lose the IWGP Heavyweight Championship rather quickly after he just won the title in like the last few months.
The match was not quick. The match was pretty
not
epic.
quick. Yes, I know. It's Omega. I'm not saying Omega can't wrestle. He's a derp. He's got Christian Cage syndrome, and that's the reason why Vince McMahon will never push somebody.
Supposedly, they've offered him like over $3 million a year for him to like.
And that's just like you said with base salary, over $3 million.
That's not talking bonuses. That's not being in the video game. That's
not selling
nothing.
Merchandise because I think they get like 20% of like merchandise sale or 10% merchandise sale.
I mean, you can negotiate that, but
he can make a ton of money in WWE.
And it's it's one of those things. It's up to him. He's been able to basically do whatever he wants and make a living doing it. Mm-hmm. And has he been doing that long enough where he's like, oh, you know what? Let's see if I can make it in the WWE. Literally, his main evented Wrestle Kingdom for like the last 3 years?
Mm-hmm. Were him and Jericho the main event last year?
I guess technically they were.
And that's another
they
thing.
were not the last match, but he and Okada have.
Yeah, they've main evented many of shows together. They are the two biggest stars in all of Japan.
Yeah.
Him facing Omega, saying goodbye to Japan. And which is funny because Jericho also posted that he would like to go after the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. He posted that yesterday.
Yeah.
And if he did that, he is already the best in the world.
Well, Jericho, almost everything he does, you're just not sure because, like, he likes to swerve people. He likes to have people not know what the hell is going to happen next with him. Honestly, I wouldn't put it beyond Chris Jericho to show up at the Royal Rumble.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't. He'll say stuff, but he does that most of the time to fuck with people.
That's why I think this whole thing with him in Japan, I think that's kind of... I also think he's like a mole with WWE, and they've actually just used him to kind of recruit some of these guys, to try to recruit Cody Rhodes back. to recruit Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and a lot of other talents in New Japan, because I know that they were trying to get, I want to say they were trying to get Okada. They were trying to get Okada and Naito from Japan, and they both turned down offers from WWE, and they said they want to stay with New Japan.
Well, they have more freedom out there, so speaking from my own personal perspective, like there were bits like in my career where like I probably could have gone to places that I assumed would be where I would end up. And I didn't go there because it didn't feel right. Yeah, I would have made more money, but I don't think I would have been happier. So I was like,
And
you know what? No, as long as I make enough money to pay my bills and kind of do other things beyond just paying my bills, you know what? I'd rather be happy in my career and having a fun time as opposed to like, hey, great, I'm making more money and I'm fucking miserable.
Were you? Was Texas one of those places?
Texas was not.
Okay, if you had turned down Texas and said that it was because you think you were going to be miserable, there's no fucking way you would have been miserable in Texas. You could have made a shit ton of money. There's no state tax. You could have had a hell of a lot more fun. I'm not saying. I mean, obviously, being here in Hampton Roads was a hell of a decision you made, especially for your career.
Right.
Because I mean, number one, you got out of the Northeast, where its favorite thing to do is to fucking snow and tax the shit out of you.
By the way, Connecticut, I found out this past week, in the top 3 of states people are moving out of.
I know. You're looking at somebody who's done it within the last 3 years.
I did it many years ago, but even so, so on the news story, they were like going, oh, it's because people are retiring. We all know in Connecticut what the real reason in Connecticut.
You didn't say it right.
Wrong.
That is a wrong statement to have said about the reason that people are leaving.
And it's not because Ned Lamont
it's
got
the man
elected.
That Ned Lamont replaced. It is because of Dan Malloy. Because Dan Malloy's favorite thing to do in this entire world is tax people, whereas in the brainless one's mind, the brainless one's favorite thing to do is shit. Honestly, good. That's my favorite thing to do is take a shit.
Great.
Then it's sleep. Then it's eat. Then it's
repeat.
And then it's repeat. I would say sex, but I haven't had sex enough in my life to actually have said that. So. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. Well,
you got your soul fucked.
Yeah.
Not that long ago.
I'm still waiting for her to send me back my soul too.
Right.
But it's not going to happen.
Good times, right? I don't.
That's what they said. They said Lamont was supposed to be Malloy 2.0.
I think Lamont is probably smarter than Dan Malloy. He will probably not in the press conference that should take 5 minutes will probably take about 5 minutes instead of 45 to 50 minutes. I think Ned Lamont is a super liberal dude, but I think he's actually way more intelligent than Malloy and realizes the mass exodus in Connecticut will continue until they stop taxing the shit out of people.
Well, Tommy, I'm going to say this the best way that I can. One of my coworkers at my job has a term that he likes to say a lot, and he does say it a lot, and it does ring true, and a lot of times that he brings it up, and I'm going to bring it up in a situation like this for all the people in the state of Connecticut. It's the 5 words to live by. You did it to yourself.
Right.
You guys voted for Ned Lamont because you guys are just too, not you in general, but the state of Connecticut as a whole, they did it to themselves.
I think they got Stockholm syndrome. They got Stockholm syndrome.
Too goddamn fucking liberal. That state is so fucking blue it gets mixed up with the goddamn Atlantic Ocean.
Tommy?
It hasn't voted Republican in the election for president since Abraham Lincoln. And we all know how that went. I need to watch this show at the theater as much as I need a hole in my head.
Tommy, move to Virginia, baby. It's better for you.
Hampton Roads, to be exact, if anything.
Right.
There's a lot to do down here. People are a lot more laid back. It's weather's, I mean, it's fucking 62 right now, and it's January 6th.
Yeah.
I'm wearing fucking shorts right now, god damn it. I mean, the amphitheater in Virginia Beach is a hell of a lot better than whatever that shithole they call in Hartford.
The Meadows.
The Meadows.
The Meadows.
There's like a bajillion fucking breweries down here.
Busch Gardens is better
There's,
than
I mean,
anything.
obviously you're not gonna be
Anyway.
you're not gonna be able to get like J. Timothy type wings or Sliders wings, but there is a place down here in Norfolk that has really, really, really good wings.
Booyah.
Where I almost, the wings of that place kind of make me say that I don't really miss Sliders as much. There's no fucking way I'm gonna not miss J. Timothy stuff.
Anyway,
Sorry.
moving right along.
I'm interested to see how this. We wish you could too, Tommy. Another thing about the Wrestle Kingdom that I was interested about was I think that was the first pay-per-view we got to see the new leader of the Bullet Club, Jay White, who I've heard about, but I was like, wow, I was like, Jay White is the new leader of the Bullet Club?
Yeah.
It was Cody Rhodes for a while. AJ Styles was the leader for a while. They've had a lot of big name stars.
Kenny Omega.
That were in the Bullet Club. Omega, Skrull. I think Skrull is still in it, or he's doing his own thing. I know Tama Tonga and Tonga
Loa
and Tama Tonga, who are known as the Gorillas of Destiny, were part of it. They're kind of doing their own thing. Tama Tonga is my fucking dude because he called out Roman Reigns.
Right.
And he's like, you're not a real Samoan. You just get that where you are because of your namesake. And I'm like, God damn.
Savage.
He's like, I'm a fucking Samoan. I made a name for myself in Japan.
So Don't Eat the Brown Snow has a question for you.
Okay. I know.
Where is his T-shirt?
It's
on back order.
It's on back order.
Semi-permanently on back order
it's on
until the brainless one gets his new job. When he gets his new job, he promises this time. Promises again. Promises.
Hey.
Promises.
Hey.
Adam Cole, baby, was in the club.
You know who else was in the club?
Yeah.
AJ Styles was actually the leader of the Bullet Club when it was him and Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, the Machine Gun Carl Anderson.
Right.
The worst book tag team in the history of WWE. They've also had Finn Balor was also part of the Bullet Club.
One more for the good guys.
I could really see myself getting more involved with the New Japan type of situation. I think they have much back.
Well, I mean, with the fact that
Japan,
you have now shut out Monday Night Raw, that leaves a 3-hour hole in your life that you can fill with better wrestling.
That's not saying much.
Yeah.
I could take a shit in the toilet and I could have a better 3 hours than fucking watching Raw.
Wait. There's at least like 10 to 15 minutes every week in Monday Night Raw.
Are you gonna play your guitar?
I'm gonna play my guitar because guess what?
I know.
And you know what? It's probably out of tune, but anyway, I'm gonna little out of tune.
Hello, he is Cousin Jay. Are you gonna play more or no?
I'm gonna tune it up. I'm gonna tune it up. Keep rolling.
I know. Don't Eat the Brown Snow. And I'm working on it. I've hit a major financial bind. When you take a significant pay cut and then not working as many hours as you were, I'm basically living to survive. I'm working to survive at this point. So yeah. So once everything gets better and I can get back on the financial ways that I need to get to, the shirts will be made. I made that promise, and I feel terrible that I didn't make that. I made that promise and didn't deliver on it. But my God, those fucking shirts are gonna happen because I want those fucking shirts. Those shirts will happen, and if those shirts don't happen, I don't know what I'll do. I'll do every 40 hands every week until it happens. No, I don't want to kill my liver like that.
Hello. My name is Elias,
And you are the GOAT.
right?
I actually pitched an idea to you earlier this week. What if Elias, when he finally does win the Intercontinental Championship, is the one that actually surpasses the Honky Tonk Man as the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time?
I would love to see the Honkometer 2.0.
That would be the greatest thing, because he is the closest thing we've had to the Honky Tonk Man.
Yes. Yes.
But I think he's a better musician than the Honky Tonk Man. Although Honky Tonk Man.
Cody Hall. Cody Hall. What happened to Cody Hall? Cody Hall is still out there. Cody Hall. He had like a Twitter war. I forgot who the frick it was with, but like, I don't know. He hasn't done too much, hasn't gone too far, despite the fact that he's got a famous name. And I know the brainless one likes to say that Charlotte Flair did everything based off her name. Cody Hall and Ted DiBiase Jr. Prove you wrong.
You know who actually does make a really good name for themselves, considering who they're
Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton.
Brian Pillman Jr.
He's part of the Hart Foundation now.
Love to see him in WWE.
MLW has filed a trademark for the Hart Foundation because Teddy Hart apparently has gotten his shit together and he decides he doesn't want to kill people in the ring anymore. And but Brian Pillman, Teddy Hart, and Brian Hart-Smith are now the Hart Foundation in MLW. Now, mind you, Hart-Smith was on Wrestle Kingdom this week, and he was part of the gauntlet match in the 6-man tag thing during the pre-show. Now there were some big names in this pre-show, like Marty Scurll was in the pre-show.
Marty Scurll.
Hangman Page was like.
Marty Scurll's my dude. I fucking love Marty Scurll. I'll fucks with Marty Scurll.
But like. There were some big names in the pre-show, but in general,
it's because he was out. He was out with an injury. Cody Hall.
Oh, okay, all right.
But don't worry, don't eat the brown snow. 2019 is going to be the year of you
the
and I. You and I. This is going to be our year because it can only get better than it was in 2018. Trust me, I'm a doctor. Dr. Digital.
I don't know. I'm going to say my 2018 was probably worse than most people's.
Your 2018 was just kind of a carryover from the end of your 2017. So 2019, it's always looking up for the three of us. And F. Mark's Hall of Famer, he's not even there. Never mind.
Yeah, Finley. That's a dude who also, in my view, Hall of Fame worthy.
Oh God, yes. His matches
I don't think
Regal back in the day were fantastic.
Dude, the brawl that they had that was like, I always compare it to the movie Lionheart. There was a scene where Jean-Claude Van Damme's character was having a fight, and they had a bunch of cars kind of in a circle, and they all had their lights on, and they beat the hell out of each other. That's kind of what Finley and Lord Steven Regal had, and they beat the hell out of each other. As Colt Cabana has often said, if you're not stiff, you're how did he put it exactly?
If you're not
you're stiff because you care. And if you're not, you want to make, honestly, whole thing is about trying to make it look real.
Somebody should tell that to Daniel Bryan about Sheamus.
Right.
Sheamus ruined Daniel Bryan for a couple of years because of the fact that he was stiff in the ring. I still love the Sheamus. Sheamus is still my dude. I fucking love Sheamus. And
well, the thing is, there's one thing for being stiff and there's another thing for being dangerous.
Reckless.
There's that too. And I would say Sheamus is stiff.
He's not.
Nia Jax is reckless.
Oh God, yes. So that's like saying that. But that's like saying you're the brains of the outfit and I'm the brainless one of the outfit.
Right.
See what I did there? Also, I'm still rooting for Sheamus to win the Intercontinental Champion because then he would become the Super Grand Slam Champion. Because he would be the only person in WWE history to have won the World Heavyweight, the WWE Championship, the Intercontinental, the United States. He won both the Raw and SmackDown Tag Team Championships. He was a former King of the Ring, a former Royal Rumble winner, and was successful in his challenging for the title after winning the
Money in the
Rumble.
Bank.
And he won Money in the Bank and was successful in his cash-in, which would make Sheamus a first ballot main attraction Hall of Famer for me. And of course, he would have been anyway, but that's besides the point.
Sorry to hear that, Draper.
What
That sucks. My sister-in-law passed away from cancer like about 10 years ago. Fucking sucked, man.
I've had way too many people in my family that I've lost.
Fucking A, man.
It's terrible.
Sorry to hear about that. Sorry to hear about
Fuck cancer.
late brother. Fucking A, man. Shit sucks.
Just remember, it could always be worse.
Yeah. So, hey! Zen Phoenix.
Zen Phoenix!
Thanks for tuning in, dude. So,
I said we put a fucking nail in this Wrestle Kingdom thing real quick. And then
dude,
can
we
talk about-
barely even talked about Zack Sabre Jr. against, Ishii. Zack Sabre
Good morning.
Jr. ends up winning the British Championship. Now,
good afternoon to you, Zen Phoenix.
One thing I'm gonna say about Wrestle Kingdom, as a whole, I really enjoyed the show. There were too much what I would call tit for tat moments where like one dude's punching somebody, then the other dude punches back, then they punch each other, and it would go back and forth, and it's like it literally happened for like 5 or 6 matches in a row. It's like, come on, guys. I know this gets the crowd into it, but viewing it not being in the crowd, it's like come up with something different. So
I agree.
there was a bit of that, and they do an awful lot of no selling, which I don't know if that's their thing over there, where like they're slapping each other in their face and acting like nothing happened, or punching somebody and acting like nothing happened.
Well, I think we need to come up with a better assessment on that whole situation once we start to watch it a little bit more and actually add New Japan towards our repertoire of what we talk about each and every week. Because after watching this and this whole thing with Jericho and all the great matches they've had, I'm more on board with actually adding New Japan as something that we could discuss
Instead of Monday Night Raw.
Monday Night Raw sucks. And I can't believe that it's taken me longer to drink 140 this week than it took me to drink 240s last week.
Yeah.
But that's typical brainless.
Well, that's a brainless one. If you don't have a goal in front of you, you tend to
kind of
just
nurse it.
yeah.
Let's put a nipple on the top of this thing.
Right.
Or Tony Storm's vagina lips.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to say this, though, and I said it already earlier in the podcast. Okada's the best performer in all of New Japan.
All right.
I think that's the guy that they have to build around. I would love to see Okada in WWE.
Now, as much as we were talking, so before we went on, like, brainless one here was like, dude, we got New Japan now, but like all the people are leaving. It's like all the Americans are leaving and all the Canadians are leaving. Possibly.
One Canadian.
Possibly Jericho too.
But he's not like a mainstay for New Japan.
But
yeah,
the people you were talking about that are leaving
are the Young Bucks.
are the Americans.
The Young Bucks,
Cody.
Rhodes.
They still have Ibushi. They still have Okada. They
Zack
still have
Sabre.
Tanahashi. They still have Nato. They have
Marty
like
Scurll.
a whole
More
gigantic roster. Yes, they have a bunch
Oh,
of people
yeah.
that are tough to replace. But like, think about fucking NXT. How many people have they lost over the years, and who they eventually replaced them?
It was funny that we were talking about. I was thinking about that the other day about how we were talking about it when they basically pillaged the entire women's division of NXT.
It took them a while to rebuild
it, and they actually had a pretty solid women's division, and even with the fact that they're adding Lacey Evans and Nikki Cross to the main roster, they still have Bianca Belair. They still have Kairi Sane. They still have Shayna Baszler. They now have Io Shirai. And they have Dakota Kai. And they can use Rhea Ripley and Toni Storm on the women's division for NXT. And they still have a very, very Deonna Purrazzo, who happens to be Marty Scurll's girlfriend. These are all people who can actually go out there and still perform. They still have Candice LeRae. They have the women's division is going to lose 2.
But I'm just saying, New Japan wise, like, yeah, they're losing people, but you sit there and I am going to pull the show The Wire into this. At the very end of the show The Wire, what ended up happening? They talked about, like, all this stuff changed throughout the 5 seasons of the show. Mm-hmm. But in the end, what ended up happening? Everybody that had a spot, if they ended up dead or ended up in jail, what happened? They were replaced with somebody new. Like, you had Marlowe taking the place of, like, Barksdale. You ended up having... I forgot what the kid's name was that ended up taking the place of
Bogey.
Right.
That was his name. That was my dude. I was fucking devastated.
But like, in general, everybody got replaced.
Yeah.
So that's what ends up happening. Whether you're going to get the same level of superstar, who the hell knows?
And it's funny that because I said that, which you're right. I actually said that, and actually somebody posted it on Instagram. It was either yesterday or today.
Draper, you should check out The Wire. It's a great show.
It was 3 years ago this weekend where they made the announcement, is WWE going to sign AJ Styles, The Club, and Nakamura? 4 big stars in New Japan at that time that all eventually signed with WWE. Obviously, AJ Styles came out first because AJ Styles is a GOAT.
Right.
I'm not going to discount what the other 3 mean, because obviously I think Nakamura is a GOAT and everything. But that's 4 big stars.
Literally.
Yes,
literally.
You know how I feel about Shinsuke Nakamura, when that's one of the very few people out there that I would replace my actual GOAT with on the fucking wall. What? I would still love to find a Steve Austin fucking Funko Pop. I don't care how much it costs. Although I am...
And Randy Watson.
Yes. But that was 4 big names, and you know what? New Japan kept churning out.
Draper put, I like the Money Pit. I don't like the Godfather because it insists upon itself.
Right.
He's Family Guying us.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Fucking great.
And you know what? That was 4 big names. I mean, AJ Styles is one of the biggest names in the entire world when it comes to professional wrestling.
I'm gonna play some Family Guy for him.
Go ahead, that's fine. Go ahead.
The consequences could be dire.
Of all the things you could have played, I figured you would have been Buzz Killington. It's not even the greatest line in the history of fucking Family.
So far, you're a bigger buzzkill than Buzz Killington. Who here likes a good story about a bridge?
My favorite with the Family Guy, as much as I love the episode where Peter ends up in the London Silly Nannies after playing for the Patriots and everything. Where's my money? Get really
tired of this,
man. My favorite one is the one where he's about to get whacked because of the big fat Paulie thing where he's going to get Lois whacked and everything. And he's like, well, we can always move to England. They don't have, the worst they have is drive-by arguments. Oh, is that Reginald B. whatever? Yeah, that's him. Oh, let's get him. Oh, Reginald! I disagree. That shit always fucking gets me. That's like one of the funniest retarded things I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
Next to Eli Manning throwing interceptions in games.
That happens every week.
I know. I told you that. I actually said that to you. I said, you know what? I tried reasoning with the other cat. I was like, but it's like telling Eli Manning, telling the cat not to attack the other cat is like telling Eli Manning not to throw an interception.
Right. It's just not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. So, yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. Actually, almost every title changed on this
Pretty
damn
much every
show.
title changed.
Young Bucks and Sonata and Evil went against Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa in it was like tornado style rules, so
Gorillas.
it didn't matter.
Can you call them the team that they're supposed to go? They're the Gorillas of Fortune.
All right, whatever.
Gorillas.
So anyway, Sonata and Evil ended up winning this match. It was a really good match, really fun match.
Gorillas like Guerillas instead of like the actual monkey. Ooh.
Right, we're talking about warfare here. Gorillas. Yeah.
You know how I feel about Tama Tonga because of the fact that he basically shut Roman Reigns up. Although I don't feel the same way about Roman Reigns as I did before because of this whole fighting the non-Hodgkin's
The cancers.
lymphoma. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. Clearly, you've seen it over the last 24 hours.
Right.
Unless it was Michael Irvin. I still want Michael Irvin to snort some bad coke. Sorry.
Sad.
No, it's not sad. Fuck that guy.
Right. All right. So then we had Kushida versus Ishimori. To me, like, what's so funny about that? Honestly, it might have been my favorite match.
Oh, God. It sounds like something you order at a freaking sushi place. Oh, why don't you say the heck son Jim Duggan is an intelligent man?
Fine.
Oh, God.
Oh,
My
fine.
God. That's the
Here it
fucking
comes.
best. There it is.
Not only that, he's a very intelligent man. Now, I know he comes... Would you settle down for 1 second? I know he comes out...
Oh, my God. I think something finally just broke in the brainless one's brain.
Wrong.
No, but you're right. It was a good match.
No, like, honestly, these guys, like, were very innovative with this shit that they were doing.
That was the match with the fucking Marty McFly and Doc Brown bullshit at the beginning, right?
It's great.
That was it, right?
I think
He
it
was.
was.
Oh my God! I'm like, oh man.
But anyway.
Look, I mean, a lot of their entrances, and my biggest thing, especially with professional wrestling, it's all about presentation. I've been a proponent of that.
That's why you didn't like WrestleMania 31 and everybody else did.
They ruined the Sting entrance, and they ruined Bray Wyatt's entrance forever and ever.
That's why you didn't like WrestleMania 31, even though it was a fucking awesome show.
And they had the greatest RKO of all time at the beginning of the show.
Right?
And, I mean, come on. I mean, Seth Rollins' cash-in wasn't even like top 3 all time.
Sure.
CM Punk cashing in was the greatest cash-in of all time.
Wrong.
Sheamus cashing in was the second greatest cash-in
Wrong.
of all time.
Wrong.
Wrong.
Right.
Right.
Wrong.
Right.
Wrong. Wrong. Dolph Ziggler was the greatest cash-in of all time.
Okay, Homer Simpson there.
There's no Homer about that. It was the greatest cash-in of all time.
I'm going to go with CM Punk.
All right, you're wrong, but you believe what you want.
Because of the fact that CM Punk's cash-in, his first cash-in on Edge was more meaningful than the one that Dolph Ziggler had. I'm not going to discount Dolph Ziggler because that fucking pop he got when he cashed in on Del Rio was ungodly. The way they reacted, the way
Building shook.
I know the building shook, but what CM Punk's cash in on Edge when he cashed in his first Money in the Bank was actually more. What's the word I'm looking for? It had more meaning to it because Raw at the time did not have a champion because Triple H was the WWE champion and he got drafted to SmackDown, and Edge was still on SmackDown as the World Heavyweight Champion. So Raw didn't have a champion. Batista came out. He power bombed Edge, beat the shit out of him, and then CM Punk's entrance hit and he cashed in, and it meant a lot more because if it wasn't for CM Punk, Monday Night Raw would not have had any champions, and SmackDown would have had both of them. So that's why I give it to CM Punk. Not because of the fact that I'm a huge CM Punk fan, but because that championship cash in.
CM Punk's a piece of shit.
Oh, yes, I understand he's a piece of shit. I don't hate CM Punk. I will never hate CM Punk. Because there's been many times in my life where I've thought about just basically telling my job to go fuck themselves and walk out. Almost every job I've had.
Oh, yeah. All right. So both Draper and Donate the Brown Snow agree. They say Edge, the first cash-in ever, was the greatest ever.
Wow.
All right.
Against John Cena. There was a run where John Cena was influential on almost every cash-in of the Money in the Bank. Whether he was the one that got cashed in on, or his failed cash-in attempt, or the fact that he buried Damian Sandow and cost him his cash-in, and yada, yada, yada.
Right.
That fucking piece of shit.
Right.
All right, proceed.
All right. So we did Jay White and Omega Tanahashi. Really good match. As with every match on this card, there were a couple of things that kind of bothered me during the match, but they kind of overcame the bits where I was like, "On really, really, really." Really good match. Like the payoff. Omega right now is a free agent. What do you think? Do we see him at the Royal Rumble? Do we see him in AEW? Do we see him elsewhere?
I think he goes back to New Japan.
Yeah?
Why leave a good position that you're in to try to pursue something? You got to look at the track record of people in WWE. Yes, AJ Styles has been
far surpassed
what Vince McMahon's expectations were, because Vince McMahon saw AJ Styles as nothing more than a mid-card talent.
And the fact that AJ Styles now has like a storyline with Vince McMahon where Vince McMahon allowed him to punch him in the face, and Vince McMahon seemingly on SmackDown was happy he got punched in the face because that's the AJ Styles he wants to see.
Yes.
So,
and all those people who think that when AJ Styles' contract expires after WrestleMania, who think he's going to go to all AEW instead of WWE, no. Vince McMahon is going to, in the words of John Malkovich.
Oh, wait.
In the movie
Rounders, pay the
man his money. AJ Styles is going to get paid. AJ Styles is going to get all the perks that he wants. AJ Styles is going to be the
going
face
nowhere
that runs the place of SmackDown Live once they have their new contract with Fox in.
Well, they already have their new contract. The show starts in October.
In the fall of 2019, AJ Styles will be on the forefront because you can't let one of your biggest names go. You make that man happy, and that man is going to be happy. He's going to be paid, and he's going to go home to his slightly attractive. Maybe back in the day she was more attractive than she is now.
Stop.
I'm sorry, I just don't see
Stop.
it. Man.
No. You said you were going to be a kinder, gentler, brainless one.
I never said gentler. I said kinder. I never said gentler.
So, all right. Draper bringing up Will Ospreay and Ibushi, who they did have a heck of a match, and Ibushi got his fucking ass
he got a concussion.
kicked. Like, there was a point in the match where like Ospreay he had him in the tree of woe and started fucking kicking him, and next thing you know, Ibushi's coming up with a bloody nose. It wasn't quite like Becky Lynch after getting punched in the face by Nia fucking Jax, but yeah.
I think the biggest name that AEW is going to pry away from WWE.
Well, they have like a billionaire that's financing it, so like they literally could get the highest. Like, think of the USFL back in the day when they were trying to compete with the NFL. They have financing so they can get the high name, high price talent, something that TNA has never been able to do.
No,
Ring of Honor has never been able to do. Like,
the only time it's ever happened like that in comparison
was
to
WCW.
Yes, exactly. And how WCW, and I will still say this, WCW failing and going out of business was the worst thing that's ever happened in professional wrestling. The second worst thing that's ever happened in professional wrestling is WWE letting Cody Rhodes walk. If it wasn't for the
Wait. It might end up being the best thing that
it's
ended up
definitely
happening.
the best thing that ever happened, but it was the worst
Because
thing
Cody
WWE
is
did.
now...
He's God.
And by the way, his match was not very good. It was like less than 10 minutes, and it was like, put all your shit into this match really quickly. Like the match itself, but like he was on his way out, and he's trying to put the dude over who is taking over for him.
I've been a huge fan of Cody Rhodes for a very long time. I thought he got the Raw end of the deal.
Hey, I see what you did there. Anyway,
But
keep going.
I'm intrigued by everything that's going to happen because 2019 is going to be a very interesting year for professional wrestling all around. You know, WWE has some pretty big name people who are going to become free agents throughout the year 2019 between AJ Styles, the Club, Anderson and Gallows, and Shinsuke Nakamura are all free agents. Chris Jericho also happens to be a free agent. Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks, obviously with the All Elite Wrestling, are free agents, and they basically going to be doing that. Kenny Omega is also a free agent. It's going to be a very interesting year. I think Vince McMahon will ultimately re-sign AJ Styles and give him the money and the kind of schedule that he's looking for. I also think that Shinsuke Nakamura is going to re-sign with WWE. He's going to get more money with them than he would anywhere else. And I think that he has a lot of unfinished business to handle in WWE. He would like to get back in the title picture. I would love to see Nakamura as WWE champion. I have no problem with Nakamura being WWE champion. I thought that he should have won the WWE championship when he was going back and forth with AJ Styles when they had their feud that started at WrestleMania and kind of just continued on throughout 2018. There's a lot of potential with what they could do with some of the guys in NXT. You have the Undisputed Era. You could do a lot of good things with them, with Adam Cole and the rest of the gang down there, and they're just dominating in NXT. You have the Ricochet, who's down there, who could be a major contributor to the main roster as well. You have, Velveteen Dream, who I'm still surprised has not been called to the main roster up until this point. If anything, I would say that Anderson and Gallows, because of the fact that they've been so poorly booked since they got to WWE, are the ones most likely to leave WWE. And I think they're going to end up going to All Elite Wrestling, or they're going to go back to Japan, where they are two of the biggest stars that they've had in Japan. Ultimately, I think if I had, you put a gun to my head and I had to say where AJ Styles was going to sign when his contract expired, it's WWE. He's going to re-sign with WWE. Vince McMahon can make so much money off of AJ Styles, and he's going to keep him, and he's going to make him happy. I also feel the same way about Nakamura, just because of the fact that Nakamura has a lot more unfinished business to tend to in WWE, and I do think that Nakamura will become WWE champion in the foreseeable future.
Now, for me, one of the things we discussed that I thought was an interesting take with AEW. There's a current WWE superstar that you think is going to end up there. I don't think he will, but
it's going to be interesting to see how they book him now.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that this whole AEW thing is kind of like festering in the minds of Vince McMahon right now. And he's like, well, if I don't book these guys properly, I'm going to lose these guys.
And if I don't send them to a shit ton of money.
Yeah. But I think that the biggest name that can leave WWE to go to AEW is Finn Balor. It makes a hell of a lot of sense. I would love to see Finn Balor get the proper push. And it's just funny that ever since this whole thing with AEW has come out, people are like, oh, well, Finn Balor is probably going to end up getting the push that he deserves. Oh, really? It took till Cody Rhodes and the owner of the Jaguars, who's going to just throw all this money into there to get all these big name signings when his starting quarterback is fucking Blake Bortles. That's where I wanted to go with that. You can say all you want to say about fucking Khan and he's going to throw all this money towards all these perennial fucking free agents and big name wrestlers and everything when his goddamn starting quarterback is motherfucking Blake Bortles, who's fucking terrible. I would even want him on the Giants. That's how bad Blake Bortles is. I'd rather have fucking broken down, washed up, come off the fucking short bus, Down syndrome fucking quarterback Eli Manning over Blake Bortles. And yet fucking Eli will probably end up being the starting quarterback of the Jaguars.
There was another name you said about AEW.
Dolph Ziggler.
Yes.
I could see Dolph Ziggler going there. Although his contract was supposed to have expired by the end of 2018, and yet, guess what? Where is Dolph Ziggler right now? He's still in WWE. And what year is it now?
2019.
Okay, so maybe I was wrong about that one. Plus the fact that he dressed up like a fucking prissy boy in that skit on the Edge and Christian show that totally reeks of awesomeness.
By the way, if you have not checked out the Edge and Christian show that totally reeks of awesomeness, season 2,
I'm going to say
fucking
this.
hilarious.
I watched the first episode of the first season of the Edge and Christian show that totally reeks of awesomeness. Mind you, I probably was not in the right mindset. It just so happens that that first episode aired the weekend after a very, I'm not even going to get into it, but I was not in the right frame of mind when I watched that first episode, and I didn't think it was as funny, but as time has progressed, the show has actually gotten a lot better. I am a huge fan of that show. I love Edge. I love Christian. I don't love Tommy Dreamer as much, but I do love the fact that they bring out Pete Gas more than once, and they do a hell of a job in that show. And they bring up the Road Dogg quite a bit. And I fucking hate Road Dogg.
What's your problem with the Road Dogg? Literally, he is the head of creative in SmackDown, like the one good show on the main roster.
My thing with him is that he had that one good shtick, and that's all he was good for. And I'll do it right now. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, WWE D-Generation X is proud to present to you its WWE Tag Team Champions of the world! The Road Dogg Jesse James, the badass Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaws. The dude can fucking talk. The fact is that Jeff Jarrett took the credit from the Road Dogg for when he made his song With My Baby Tonight and said it was a hit. And, you know, that was what made the Road Dogg the Road Dogg.
Oh.
The fact is, I was just a huge Billy Gunn fan. At the end of the day, I was a huge Billy Gunn fan.
Draper thinks the Revival might go.
I don't see the Revival going in.
I want to say that the Revival are signed for a couple more years.
And I'm going to say
the Revival,
they're the ones that are going to take the tag team championships from.
As long as they stop treating the Raw tag team championships like fucking
like a joke?
Trash.
That's because the Raw tag team division is fucking trash.
I wouldn't say that. They've got good teams. What they need to do is
What the fucking oh, there's a pain! How do you miss
Again.
Okay.
Not bad teams, bad booking. There's a fucking difference.
No, you're right.
There's a fucking difference.
No, they have talent in the Raw tag team division that can make it maybe not as good as SmackDown. SmackDown's fucking tag team division is ridiculous.
It is.
It's fucking ridiculous. It is stacked. And I said it before when they started doing this whole brand split where they should have just had all the women on one show and all the tag teams on the other show. It would have made a hell of a lot more sense because now you're obviously your three of your four biggest stars in the women's division are on one show, and the one that you're basically building your women's division around is on the other show, where Becky Lynch is God on SmackDown. Charlotte Flair is obviously Charlotte Flair, and yes, I have said what I've said about Charlotte Flair in the past.
And you're wrong.
I'm wrong about Charlotte Flair because pound for pound, no matter what division, any woman, any man, anybody that collects a paycheck from Vince McMahon, she is one of the best in-ring performers. She's in the top 5 of in-ring performers of everybody in WWE. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, NXT UK, anybody who collects a paycheck from Vince McMahon, character-wise, she's not Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch fucking shits all over her face. I'd actually pay to see that, too. But the fact is that...
A Charlotte Steamer.
Or Charlotte's. But the three of the four biggest stars of the women's division are on SmackDown, and that's Asuka, that's Becky Lynch, and that's Charlotte, and the other one is Ronda Rousey, who happens to be on Monday Night Raw. Obviously, they're building towards either Becky and Ronda at WrestleMania, or Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania, which will main event WrestleMania at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, home of the four-time NFL Super Bowl champion New York Giants, and that other fucking franchise that hasn't hasn't done dick in half a century, who should just get their own stadium in like fucking Peru. The fucking New York Jets, and that's it's pretty sad when the highlight for the Giants is they've won a Super Bowl in 4 different decades, which is the only team in NFL history who's ever done it in 4 straight decades.
It's been like 8 years.
And the highlight.
Been like 8 years.
Hold on, let me finish.
Been like 8 years.
And the highlight for New York Jets fans is they can actually spell their team's name. Fuck the Jets.
Well, it's because they're Met fans usually too.
Yes, they're fucking.
Because they only have to switch one.
They're secondary fans. They root for the Jets. They root for the Mets. They root for the Nets. And then they root for what is the fucking what is it? What am I thinking? Who am I forgetting?
The Winnipeg Jets.
The New York Islanders, who are actually like legitimate, so they can't spell Islanders, so they can't root for them. And fuck the Rangers too. And the But anyway, that's the main event. That's probably going to be the main event of WrestleMania is whoever Ronda Rousey fights for the Raw Women's Championship. And I have said that that's what they should have done. They should have just kept all the women on one show and all the tag teams on the other show. Because SmackDown basically has all the best teams except for the Authors of Pain and the Revival. They have the New Day. They have the Usos. They have my favorite tag team, the Ba. They have Sanity. They have the Bludgeon Brothers once fucking Captain Wedgie fucking comes back from his injury.
Captain Stairs.
There's another tag team over there, and I can't. And I bet you any money Heavy Machinery heads over there too. I just got this sneaking suspicion.
Heavy Machinery officially had their last match in NXT this past week.
Lacey Evans had her last match last night in NXT Greensboro. Nikki Cross also had hers. My guess is if they're going to do it, Heavy Machinery goes to Raw, which is very disappointing. Lacey Evans will probably end up on Raw as well. I think my heart is telling me that Nikki Cross is the most guaranteed person to go to SmackDown Live.
Well, she deserves to be with
she deserves. She's the
Sanity.
She's the heart and soul of Sanity. I don't care what anybody says. As much as I love Eric Young, everybody who watches the show, I love Eric Young.
You would suck his dick if you could.
But she is the heart and soul of Sanity, and if they put her on Raw and Sanity's on SmackDown, I'll probably stop watching SmackDown too.
Sad.
But I'm guessing EC3 goes to SmackDown as well.
All right.
And then that leaves Lars Sullivan going to Raw. I don't know why, but I just got this sneaking suspicion.
I just think that's a bad idea.
Unless, what if they do with Lars Sullivan what they did when they first brought him up to NXT? Where it was Lars Sullivan and his fucking shitty tag team partner in the tag team division. Like, they go up against fucking the Revival, and he's basically beating the shit out of the Revival, and then this partner comes in there and fucking...
And he beats up James Ellsworth.
That would be the greatest moment ever. If they did that, I would be okay with him on Raw.
I just have a problem with the fact that, like, they've already got the monster among men. You're not going to bring up Lars Sullivan to the same damn thing because Lars Sullivan is not as big as he is.
Yeah.
He just doesn't look as imposing.
Can I ask you a question? How long have you been watching wrestling? Over 30 years, right?
Long enough.
I've been watching wrestling for 30 years. You and I, between the two of us, we have over 60 years of following professional wrestling. That's why we do this podcast.
The fucking Colognes are still on SmackDown. I had no idea what show they were on. I mean, the fact that they're employed, they're honestly, they're like JTG was back like 5 or 6 years ago.
You know who else I forgot was on SmackDown? The Club! Because they haven't been properly booked. Thanks, Vince McMahon. But all the years that you and I have been watching professional wrestling, all the years that we've been sitting here and we talk about Clash of the Champions 13 and the Barbershop and fucking R-Truth coming out as a Confederate soldier in Richmond, Virginia and Tea Time with Santino and fucking WrestleMania 17 and WrestleMania 3 and WrestleMania 31 and everything that's ever happened in the history of professional wrestling. What is the one constant thing? WWE booking shows us that Lars Sullivan will end up on Monday Night Raw because it makes so much more sense to have him on SmackDown than Raw, but it doesn't give a shit. It doesn't matter what the fuck we think or what
Monday
we
Night
say.
Raw has sucked. Monday Night Raw has sucked.
So obviously,
Monday Night Raw
it makes
has sucked.
the least amount of sense for Lars Sullivan to go to Raw over SmackDown, so that's obviously what they're going to do.
Don't eat the brown snow. It sounds like a freaking good morning for you, man. Irish coffee now.
God damn.
Dude, I hope you make it through your game.
If you pass out by halftime of the Bears-Eagles game, I'm not going to feel bad for you because...
Don't eat the brown snow. A good
did it
friend
to
of
yourself.
ours is a big Bears fan, and I wish them
I've actually
very
met
well.
quite a few Bears fans over the years.
I know several of them.
I actually used to work with one at my last job.
Yes.
And I'm actually kind of glad because he was kind of one of those guys, like he could be a douchebag, but I actually liked the dude because I never had any problems with him.
Right.
I mean, the problems that I had with him were kind of minimal, but it's like he was just like that was his team. He was a Bears fan,
Right.
and I'm rooting for Pat to have. It would be great if Pat actually won a fucking. Not his team.
I want Pat's team to lose to my team in the Super Bowl.
I want the Colts to win it all.
Captain Neckbeard.
I want to see Captain Neckbeard as a 6 seed, just like the Giants did when they won the fucking Super Bowl 11 years ago, because the Colts do remind me a lot of the 07 Giants. And you guys are going to either have to play San Diego.
Los
They
Angeles.
got to play the Chargers or the Ravens. And admit it. Even though, as a Patriots fan,
This is not their best team.
This is not their best team, but you have to admit that Baltimore gives the Patriots fits. They're not going to be an easy out for you.
They usually do give us
You'd
fits.
rather play San Diego or Baltimore. Admit it.
I don't know if I don't
Well,
think
I
I'm
think
going to
it is.
say that. I don't think I would say that.
It's not going to be as easy as it could be.
You tell me that the temperature next week in Foxborough is going to be 20 degrees. I would say I'd rather play Los Angeles.
But if it's like 40 or 50 degrees,
I'd rather play against.
San Diego, I'm going to do it again. Jesus
I
fucking
would
Christ, I've been in
rather.
LA for like
I
2
would
years
rather
now.
play against Baltimore.
That defense is really good. It's just that they have.
They have a good defense, but they have
really
no
good-
offense.
They have no offense. You're right.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson's not the answer to them at quarterback.
Fucking A, man.
I would.
Shake it up. You know what? Don't eat the brown snow. The brainless one is going to replace that jersey with an effing marked shirt at some point in his life.
I'm gonna throw my goddamn shoe at you.
I said at some point in your life. You have hopefully several years to go.
For him or for me?
All of us.
Okay, thank you.
Tomorrow's never guaranteed.
No, you're right.
I could go out in the backyard and have a fucking heart attack.
Or a tree could fall on you.
There was one that almost fell on the damn house during our podcast.
If you think about it, I could have died the day that freaking thing fell out of the back of the pickup truck that almost destroyed my mirror on the side of my car.
Yes.
As my window was open and I was smoking a cigarette, and it's like that thing could have came in there and fucking decapitated me.
That's what she said.
And you would think that something like that would have actually got me to quit smoking cigarettes, but guess what? Joke's on them.
He says hopefully before he's 40 or drinks a 40.
Oh,
It won't happen before I'm 40, unfortunately.
No, that
Sad.
happened before I turned 40, so I got like 4 years. God damn.
Don't worry, the brainless one promises, just like he did last year, that it'll happen.
No, I told you that 2019 was going to be a better year for me, and I'm actually going to deliver this time. Once I get this job with the Navy, and I actually have a
In the Navy.
Do not sing the fucking Village People right now. We went 112 episodes before we stopped singing Village People songs. I would like to keep it that way. Although the Village People are my dad's favorite band, and it always
It's
hurts
just
me.
funny.
Why? Because of the fact that he's a diehard Republican and a Christian? Yeah, I know. Me too. Trust me, that thought has actually crossed my mind. If he had said Queen, I would be like, okay, yeah, I can understand that because Freddie Mercury is God. And they are a great band.
Right.
So, how about a rundown of your good, the brand, our good, I just Stugatz the shit out of myself.
You're damn right.
Am I Stugatz?
You could be.
I mean, Corey did say it last week. You're dealing with Stugatz. He's not wrong. I am Stugatz. A lot of times I don't pay attention, but I should, and I don't.
Right.
But I mean, I'm trying to make 2019 a better year for myself and Cousin Jay, and for all of you in this podcast, and everybody else in my life that matters to me, except for fucking Thomas, because he's a fucking.
Come on, man.
Cowboy fans are the worst human beings on the planet, okay?
The Cowboys have the best defense in the world,
I
man.
like that Gallup pick, man. They scored that touchdown really early in the game.
Amari Cooper was a great signing, man.
That Amari Cooper trade was actually very beneficial for the Cowboys, man. Even though I've never used beneficial in the sentence in my entire life because I don't even know what it means, man. But I like that Amari Cooper trade because no matter who the Cowboys had taken with the first round pick, it wasn't going to equal the output that Amari Cooper could have meant to this team, man. And I think that it is a great thing for the Cowboys that we have Amari Cooper and we have the best offensive line in the NFL, even though the Colts have proven us that they actually have the best offensive line and the best Notre Dame alum to play on an offensive line on their team. Where we just have Zach Martin, man, and we could have had the best team, and we are the Cowboys, and I really had hoped that Johnny Manziel was our quarterback, man. I love that Gallup pick. Leighton Vander Esch is the greatest player in NFL history.
Stop.
He makes Lawrence Taylor look like Andy Katzenmoyer, man.
Stop.
It's true.
It's terrible. Terrible.
Feels.
It's how Thomas feels. It is.
And I'm gonna go before the games today, and I'm gonna go get myself a couple of taquitos, and I'm gonna upgrade to some Stella Artois, even though having a couple of those is like 3 hours of pay for me, man. With my nephew's son, Dallas.
As much as I want to go with my good for this week is Rusev being a GOAT and having a fucking blast. Celebrating his U.S. title victory over Shinsuke, not gonna work here anymore.
Not gonna be United States champion anymore.
I have to go with the fucking New Day with Steiner math. That
The numbers don't lie.
Like when Big E started doing the Steiner math, I was losing my fucking mind. I was like, the greatest thing. The greatest thing ever. And like them actually calling it Steiner math on WWE TV. It's like there are so many things that are like taboo, and you would think Scott Steiner is like kind of top of the list, and they just went with it anyway. Fucking loved it. Yeah.
My good for this week, the GOAT, Chris Jericho.
Yeah. Yep.
What's your bad?
My bad for this week is the refereeing in the Jeff Hardy Samoa Joe match. There was a point where Samoa Joe had the coquina clutch outside the ring, and Jeff Hardy was knocked out, and Samoa Joe goes into the fucking ring. It was at the 8 count, and the referee decided, I'm going to start the count all over again. Now, like, this, booking-wise, you would seemingly think like, oh, fucking Jeff Hardy's going to win this match because of fucking bullshit. No, Samoa Joe just put the coquina clutch on him and choked him out again. But even so, Samoa Joe went back in the ring and did absolutely zero to get the count restarted. It wasn't like he went into the ring and came back out of the ring to start the count.
In fact,
Literally, like,
when he rolled back into the ring, the referee got into Samoa Joe's face and was like, "Hey, you shouldn't be doing that." It's like, dude, you still got to count 2 more numbers, and then you got the 10. Don't fucking start all over again. That's actually my bad too. That really
Fucking retarded.
It was
retarded,
It
dude.
was retarded, dude. Like Julius Edelman.
No. Like Eli Manning. Eli Manning.
Julius Edelman, not Julian. Julius Edelman.
Right.
From a Patriots fan.
Right.
I'm going after everybody from fucking Hampton Roads.
Right.
Fuck you too, Big C. The Eagles are going to lose by 50 points. And then then you won't be the defending Super Bowl champions anymore because you'll be at home fucking with your thumb up your ass. Just like
The reigning, not defending Super Bowl champions.
for a few more weeks, and then the Saints will take that title from you.
Yeah. All right.
Brainless.
I try not to take my brainless picks lightly, and I didn't this week. My brainless picks for this week are not all of, but several of the names for WWE NXT UK superstars. Who the fuck came up with these things? Candy Floss.
I like the floss.
Turbo. Wild Boar. What? There are more of them. Those are the 3 that like come bubbling to the top of my fucking head. Who the fuck came up with these names? Like literally, Ole Anderson, like at least with Clash of the Champions 13, I know that he was drunk in a bar and like going, Kahlua, that's a fucking great name. Like Candy Floss, Wild Boar. I mean, it's a short, fat guy. And they were trying to make him be like the biggest badass ever. And it's like, no, it's a short, fat guy. He reminds me of Minotaur. Minotaur from WCW in the early 90s, who was slow, and they always referred to him. They said he had a deliberate pace, a.k.a. he's a slow fucking slow.
Yeah.
Wild Boar is not quite like that, but fucking A. He's just a short fucking meatball. Candy Floss.
I wanted to floss her with my...
She's a very attractive girl who's 18, so she's legal.
Yep.
So, fucking Turbo. Like, Turbo is a name Turbo should be a name. If you're on fucking American Gladiators from the 90s, Turbo is a great name for you. Nitro was
the name of a person.
It might have been. There was Nitro, but fucking Turbo?
Okay.
Turbo was on fucking GoBots.
Okay.
Turbo was second in command in GoBots. Leader 1, then Turbo.
Turbo was also the thing you would use, I believe, in Super Smash, or not Super Smash Brothers.
Contra Brothers.
Mario Kart. You would hit the turbo.
So that's my fucking brainless for this week. Who came up with these fucking names? Is Eli Cottonwood booking these names?
You know.
Is it the same person who came up with fucking Husky Harris?
Okay.
Is it the same person who came up with Michael McGillicuddy?
Okay.
The fucking goat?
Okay. As much as I want to agree with you for your brainless, and you have a very good argument with what your brainless could be for this week, and a lot of those names were fucking retarded. Like
Don't Eat the Brown Snow said Turbo was on American Gladiators.
Yes.
I remember Gemini. I remember Nitro. Was Turbo one of the female ones, or was Turbo
it's been a long time. With
WWE
Hall of Fame, or not Hall of Famer, but former WWE General Manager of Monday Night Raw, Mike
Adam Lee.
Oh,
Also, former WWE Hall of Famer with the Revival, Hulk Hogan was the host of American Gladiators.
Right. As much as I want to agree with you, that is my brainless for the week. As much as I wanted to bring up the fact that David Arquette came out in the Edge and Christian show when they did the Takeover with World Champions, and it was Edge, Christian, Diamond Dallas Page, and they busted out David Arquette. I wanted to.
You lost your fucking mind.
I wanted to put my foot through.
You lost your fucking mind.
So you got to imagine that whatever my brainless is got to top that. And I fucking hate the fact that David Arquette was a former world champion. I don't consider him as a former world champion.
What about Vince Russo and Vince McMahon?
I treat David Arquette as world champion just like Stu Gatz considers Kevin Durant as an NBA champion. Like he basically chased the title by joining a super team.
We just gotten a question. Who do we see going into this year's WWE's Hall of Fame class?
Vader, because he's dead.
Yeah.
I can see Christian going in this year too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna go. I would love to see Lawrence Taylor be the celebrity that enters in it.
It should be.
It's gonna end up being the fucking Snooki.
I'm gonna say that this year,
China.
finally, we are going to get King Kong Bundy
Oh my god.
in the Hall of Fame.
Oh my god. I know
They're in
you're
New
boycotting.
Jersey.
I know you're boycotting.
I'm
the Hall of Fame,
boycotting the Hall of Fame.
If King Kong Bundy gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, I'll go for the Hall of Fame. Fuck WrestleMania. I'll just go for the Hall of Fame because I want to see fucking King Kong Bundy.
If they have King Kong Bundy and Lawrence Taylor go in, I think you're gonna
Oh my god.
masturbate.
I would masturbate. It would be the greatest moment of my life. Because it's fucking King Kong Bundy and it's Lawrence Taylor. The greatest football player to ever play the game in the National Football League and the most underrated wrestler in the history of mankind. And a member of the fucking Bundy family.
Yeah, James, there's no way in hell Chris Benoit is ever getting into the WWE Hall of Fame. Literally, they have kept China out because she did porno.
I can see
Chris
China going in this year.
Where Chris Benoit is going to be kept out permanently because he's a murdering piece of shit.
They should kick Superfly Jimmy Snuka out.
They should.
So obviously, with my brainless, if I've overlooked the fact that David Arquette was
that
there,
you just had a tism about it too.
My brainless for this week is how they're booking the SmackDown Live Women's Championship match.
All right.
Why? Number one, Becky Lynch deserves her rematch. Obviously,
they've done away with the quote unquote
rematch clause and everything like that. I get that, but still, Becky Lynch deserves it. Charlotte going in there and saying, "Yeah, I deserve a shot because I'm Charlotte Flair and fuck you."
Well,
my problem with the whole thing, and it's the only reason I have a problem with it, because if it was like Charlotte, Becky, and you name any other woman on the SmackDown Live brand, and I wouldn't have done this. But it was Carmella. Why? Here's my thing. Carmella, yes, is deserving of a shot because she has actually been rather entertaining, and I actually like Carmella being part of the women's
dance off.
And she's actually made a name for herself, and I might be one of the few in the minority that said her championship run wasn't as terrible as everyone says it was. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. I feel like she's done enough since her and R-Truth have actually joined forces to make her a face and gotten her back over with the WWE Universe. My problem with this is that she says, I deserve a shot at the Women's Championship at the Royal Rumble. So now she's going to be thrusted in a triple threat match to determine Asuka's number one contender at the Royal Rumble. No problem with that, except for one thing. Riddle me this. At the TLC pay-per-view, did they or did they not have a finals of the Mixed Match Challenge?
They did.
And was the winners of the Mixed Match Challenge going to be number 30 in the respective men
Royal
and
Rumble
female
match.
women's
Yes.
Rumble match?
So R-Truth
and was Carmella and R-Truth the winners of said match?
Yeah.
So why the fuck is WWE putting Carmella in a match to determine the number one contender when she's already got a match at the Royal Rumble?
To be the number one contender and be the main event, or part of the main event.
So if she, let's say they put her in this match, does that mean she loses her number 30 spot in the Royal Rumble?
No.
Does that mean that she has to now wrestle 2 matches at the Royal Rumble?
Yes, we've seen that before.
I understand that, but it's a lot of times it's a champion who loses or a challenger that loses his shot at the title at the Royal Rumble and then enters in the match later on. But don't you think it defeats the purpose of the whole thing with the Mixed Match Challenge where it's the 30th person enters? It'd be like if R-Truth is like, well, I deserve a shot at the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble, and it should be a triple threat match between me and Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble.
It's a little different, but I get what you're saying.
It's stupid booking. And each and every week, whenever WWE does something stupid booking-wise, it's always going to be my brainless. So the fact that
you can't do it every week, though. You gotta come up with something.
But this is fucking typical. But it's brainless. It's brainless to me because you did this whole thing. You made a big deal about the Mixed Match Challenge, where you actually put the finals of the Mixed Match Challenge not on the pre-show, but on the actual card for a pay-per-view, and you had them win the match. And this whole thing is about whoever wins the Mixed Match Challenge gets the 30 spot in their respective Royal Rumbles, and then like a couple weeks later, Carmelo's like, well, I deserve a shot at the title. That's why you got the 30 spot in the Royal Rumble, bitch. So you can improve your chances because you were the last woman to enter into the Women's Royal Rumble, so you give yourself the best chance, even though their number 30 isn't really technically the best chance because other people have won more times from different spots than number 30. 27 and 1 come to mind. You have already basically punched your ticket to have a really good chance of becoming the women's champion. So why are you putting yourself in this match?
Because she wants more than one chance.
I understand. It's just, I think it's stupid. I really do. I think it's stupid. She's already got herself a match at Royal Rumble, and she doesn't have to do anything else. So you already know basically that they're not going to have her win the match. You're basically saying that, okay,
which match?
The triple threat match to determine Asuka's number one contender. It's either going to be Becky or Charlotte. And that Carmelo's basically just throwing it as a throw-in because you already know she's
because they
win.
want her to eat the pin.
Basically. And I think it's stupid. That's why WWE booking for this week is my brainless of the week.
All right. At some point soon, you need to stop having that be your brainless.
Well,
you can't have it every week.
But at some point,
at some point it gets old. It gets old. It gets old. Come up with something else. You could put that as your forever brainless, and then
my honorable mention would have been David Arquette in the fucking Edge Christian show as world champion.
Right.
Because that is the most brainless thing any human being has ever done in the history of life.
Right.
So I think we've touched base on everything. Did we pay homage to the legendary GOAT? Mean Gene Okerlund?
The GOAT. Yes.
Did we talk about the Tony Storm situation?
We did.
Did I talk about Tony Storm's badge and how beautiful it was?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
Did we talk about the All Elite Wrestling?
We did.
Did we talk about Wrestle Kingdom?
Indeed, we did.
Did we do the good, the bad, and the brainless?
We damn straight
did. Did we plug our show?
We did a couple times, but we're going to fucking do it again. So if you like what you see, make sure you like us on Facebook, like us on Twitter, Periscope, subscribe on YouTube.
And follow us on Instagram at the letter T, the letter H, the letter T, the letter, I just combined H and E together. The letter T, the letter H, the letter E, letter F, the letter N, MARKS. You either like us, subscribe to us, or follow us at any of those things, depending on what they are. And if you like us, we will like you back and follow you back. That's always
if we can.
Mantra. And thank you for
James. Thanks for tuning in. David Benoit redeeming the Benoit name. He could redeem his own name. He cannot redeem his father's name, no matter what happens. And yes, Owen Hart belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Owen Hart belongs in the Hall of Fame more than Vader.
And his wife has been blocking it for years.
And also make sure you follow Smark of Excellence on Facebook as well. He's also Don't Eat the Brown Snow on the Twitter. So
it's just Don't Eat Brown Snow.
Don't Eat Brown Snow on the Twitter. So
and he's got great YouTube stuff too.
He's got some really good
YouTube
YouTube
of
stuff.
Excellence.
He's a great follow. He's a great follower. And he's one of our favorite people.
He was Follower of the Year last year.
Yes, he was Follower of the Year last year at the Marquee Awards. So definitely give him a follow and check out his stuff. He's got a lot of great stuff. And the Brainless One puts his stamp of approval on the stuff that he has as well.
We both do. Booyah.
Yes, we both do. So I think we touched base on everything.
We did, except for one very important thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it because today, on January 6th of 2019,
we are closing in on...
For the first time in 2019, that an astonishing 1,440... I cannot believe I look behind me, even though I know where the board is today. At 1,442 days, F. Mark's Hall of Famer Curtis Axel is still alive in the 2015 Royal Rumble.
Yeah. Drink it in, man.
And as for that, that is episode 113 of the F and Marks podcast. Go home, go back, enjoy your day, enjoy some football. Unless you're an Eagles fan, I hope you don't enjoy your football.
Good luck. Don't eat brown snow.
Don't eat
with
the brown snow.
The Bears.
Go to the fucking Let's Go Bears.
Bears eat Eagles, right?
He fucking put my squad. Do not follow. Don't eat. I'm just kidding. So for episode 113 of the F and Marks podcast,
I'm Jay.
and I'm Brainless Bob. Make sure you mark out.
With your guac out. See you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Go Bears!